Hello everyone, welcome back to DCS World and welcome back to Enigma's Cold War server, but as you may not have seen it before. This was taken during Enigma's very brief 1950s event, one that was showcasing a brand new, very early plane set, where the most advanced planes were Mig-15s and Sabers, and the majority of planes available were props. Now, majority of people jumped at the chance to see Mig-15s and Sabers at the top of the tier, so to speak, but I was actually really excited to take out a prop plane against these, and looking at the options available, I decided to go for the 109. This was very fittingly displayed in its Israeli camouflage scheme, and so this was taking the place of the S199, one of my favourite planes, and I ended up having a hell of a time, so let's jump in and see how I did. So here I am trying to catch up with a Mig-15. I've been trying for a little while now, they keep disengaging. Not really too surprising, but this is the point in the fight where one actually begins to turn with me. So my thinking with the prop plane is that Mig-15 pilots are going to be very used to being the turn fighter in their engagements on Enigma's Cold War. So I can flip things around, try and use their muscle memory against them by taking out something that is just much better at turn fighting. Now, unfortunately, the Mig-15 pilots did, at least initially, always use boom and zoom tactics or just extend away as soon as they missed, but slowly I began to wear down their patience. That shooting just there was seeing if I could make this guy panic and turn around, but he didn't. He keeps on going. But at this point we've been engaged for 5 minutes or so, and his patience seems to be starting to wear out. He's extending a lot less between his turns, and so it looks like I am beginning to win the battle of patience here. If I can just get him in the turn fight, that is where I want to be. Now you can see he's turning. He doesn't actually have enough room to get guns on me, but I can get guns on him. I spray and miss. One thing you may be able to notice there, the early warning radar picture, this is definitely not the only Mig-15 in the area. I'm actually engaged by 3 at this point. But all of them are doing the same thing and really struggling to keep up with my turns. Now, one thing that I am definitely struggling with here is trying to judge exactly how much to lead these World War II guns in terms of a Mig-15. Because these are definitely faster than most targets. I'm used to engaging with the 109, so I need a little bit more lead, but I'm not entirely sure how much in this engagement. So I do quite a lot of misses. I am trying to keep my bursts very short so I don't waste much. Also having a little bit of trouble getting the nose high enough to actually engage. Some of these shots really did get the right amount of lead, but just weren't aligned with the track the enemy was taking. Now, he's decided that here in the turn fight he wants to go for a vertical turn fight, which I guess makes sense, but the problem is the 109 can actually climb quite well, whereas these very early jets really do struggle with their acceleration. Their advantage is their speed, not really their ability to have very high thrust. And so whenever he goes vertical, I am managing to keep up with him, and sometimes actually managing to close the distance. Again, firing there and missing. Again, next pop-up on early warning radar, I can see they've got a load of them around me. But I'm quite happy that I'm continuously turning here, so I'm not flying in a straight line, I'm not giving them an easy shot. And I do just need to always make sure I'm checking my 6 here, make sure nobody's trying to slot in on me. And so here in the climb we can see he is starting to get further than me, but not significantly far. And then as he starts to stall out, I'm still in a pretty good position. I follow him back into the dive here. So this was a very, very long engagement, but as I said, what I'm just trying to do is wear him down to the point that I can get in a low energy state where I suddenly have the advantage. In terms of my weapons, the two 12mm guns on the 109 aren't going to do a huge amount against a Mig-15, but I do have a 30mm cannon, and 30mm cannons really don't care what era you're in, they're going to hurt. Here we can see I get another target coming up behind me. This one is now much closer, turning much more aggressively, so I abandon my initial target and decide to focus on this guy, both because he's the bigger threat in this instance and because he's a bit closer, so a little bit easier to get into weapons range. Now I did manoeuvre quite aggressively there, so you can see I've bled off a lot of energy. Another plane comes in, makes a very high aspect pass there. But still trying to turn, trying to keep an eye on various things, and because the fight is really quite low, also having to keep an eye on ground altitude. See these two planes nearly hitting each other there. Third plane up high. We'll see him again very shortly. So I'm just trying to decide which one to go on, try to make sure I'm always turning, always refusing to give these guys a easy shot. This guy starts to pass in front of me, I fire, I don't think I get anything good there. He goes out, I really start to get into energy trouble here, so almost bin it at that point. 109 can definitely deal with slower speeds than these Mig-15s, but I'm not infinitely able to go down and slow. Yeah, just always checking my 6 in this fight. Right now, this guy seems to be my best opportunity. He is getting really quite slow for a jet. There I take my first hit. I didn't actually see that as quite a long range shot. It wasn't a direct hit, though it seems to be a bit of fragment. It's hit on the right wing. And there we just see a plane zooming by, and he goes straight into the ground. He was near vertical, he must have locked up or something trying to get guns on there, and he bins it. And I am 100% claiming that as my first kill of the evening. Got a manoeuvre kill, and I am now down to at least a 2-on-1. Although there is another Mig-15 in the area, but he is way up high. You can maybe see every time I turn around that my right wing is slightly damaged. It's not severely damaged at this point. This guy goes in, I force the overshoot, and then we go back vertically. Yeah, the 109 can handle these vertical climbs, especially when you really push the engine. Do just have to watch the engine on the 109, particularly the red temperature gauge on the front right. If that touches the top little chevron, your engine has a few seconds before it explodes. And so I am having to manage my temperature all the time here during these engagements. And so there I did run out of energy, but luckily he also hasn't really recovered his energy. He immediately tries to re-engage. And we can see here that really his speed is struggling. My plane's actually faster than his at this point. He tries to pull into the vertical, but again, he doesn't really have the acceleration for this. And so there I get a good set of clips across him, and you can see in the kill feed that was actually a kill. He immediately disconnects after the kill, but doesn't matter, I actually hit the pilot with this. You can see this on the replay. So we go in, I climb up, And there we go, centre of mass hit just behind the cockpit, and immediately kill the pilot. That was a 30mm round. Doesn't really matter what you hit a pilot with, but a 30mm round is definitely going to stop it, especially if these are the Mig-15s high explosive rounds. The other thing you may have noticed in that third-person replay was my right landing gear is flopping about like mad. It turns out this bit of damage I've got on my right wing, although it's not really interfering with the plane's flight characteristics too much, it has seemed to have broken the landing gear's locking position. And so for the rest of this, I unknowingly have my landing gear just flopping in and out. Whenever I'm inverted, it flops back and closes, but then whenever I turn the right way around, it very slowly starts to drop again. And so I do feel this with a pull on the right wing, but I'm just assuming it's wing damage here. I don't actually realise that my landing gear is acting as a bit of a speed brake for the rest of this. So the third Mig-15 is staying really high. Oh, sorry, the fourth Mig-15 is staying really high. This third one does try and fight for a little bit, but at this point he starts to pull away, and there's no way I can chase him down. I decide to try an RTB. After some little engagements in the mountains that didn't amount to anything, he does follow me back out of the mountains, and here we're engaging again. I'm not entirely sure if this is the same Mig-15 or not, but he determinedly followed me most of the way back to the base. But nice thing here, this is now a one-on-one, so I'm a little more confident. Bad news is I am out of cannon round here, or just about to be. I do have a little bit of machine gun ammo, but not much, which is why I'm trying to be careful. Again, not quite getting the shots on there. But there I get a good set of hits, centre of the plane, and another set of hits, centre of the plane. It's going to do good damage to him. As you can see here, he's ended up in that same situation. He's very, very slow. Really not able to quickly out-accelerate me. And so I am able to put some work into the middle of this guy's torso. Now, that's not enough. I do clip off some more shots here. He is slowly starting to pull away. Really don't want to waste my ammo. I know I've damaged him at least at this point. He certainly seems to be still in the air. Taking these small snatching shots, not really getting anything good. Now he does do something very sensible here. He goes up for the cloud layer, and so I do completely lose him. I figure at this point that what he's likely to do is go into the cloud layer, turn, and then dive back down, so I try the same thing, and here I just get lucky. I come out the cloud layer still near his 6, so I can just turn back in, continue pressing him. It was a good try on his part, but I just got better luck there. I could have very, very easily completely lost him. So we're going back around. He's bleeding off a huge amount of speed here. I clip off some more shots. I don't know if that really hits or not. I do overshoot, and as I'm turning around I do notice that there is a friendly Sever in the area and an enemy Thunderbolt that's joined in. And that was just the replay showing that I did in fact clip his tail ever so slightly. He did fire for some reason there. I've got no idea why he fired there. You can also see at this point my gear is very much flopped out. So I do a complete loop here, trying to keep an eye on both the hostiles. There's also this friendly 109 that has joined, and there the Mig-15 bails. I'm guessing I did enough damage to his engine that it just finally conked out there, and so get a second gun skill. Still do have this Thunderbolt on me. At this point I'm not too happy because I've got barely any bullets left. You can see the gun count is almost 0. don't have a huge amount of fuel left, and these jugs really can take a pounding, so I probably can't kill him with bullets. So mostly here I'm wanting to keep him busy, keep him turning, bleed off his energy, so that the friendly 109 can do his job. And that's exactly what happens here. The 109 catches this guy in an awful energy state, and just as I'm coming around you can see a little airburst there, goods hits, and the guy goes down. And so there we go. I do manage to RTB after that. The gears do actually come down fine, they just weren't locking, but I still had hydraulic control. So a bit of a interesting part failure there. But still really, really happy with that. 2 guns kills and 1 maneuver kill against 3 Mig-15s, so very, very happy. Was a shame that the event didn't last all that long, but there was a bug that stopped them being able to continue it. Would love to see this event again, would love to play around a bit more using some other aircraft. Anyway, so let me know what you thought, and let me know what you thought of the event. Did you enjoy it? Would you like to see it again? Would you like to see any other particular plane sets? And anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Till then, remember to be kind to yourselves and everyone else. Cheers.